Caitlin Clark has broken the damn internet. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy.
So it's just exciting, but also like they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that as well.
There's that old Caitlin Clark line people like to bring up. Rain, shine, holidays, birthdays. If there's a gym open, she's probably in it. It's almost become part of the legend at this point. So when clips surfaced of her back on the court on her birthday, it landed with a familiar smile. While most people were blowing out candles, she was getting shots up. But this one didn't register as just another grind clip. Something about it looked different. And after a season interrupted by injuries, that difference matters. If you've ever noticed this workout pop up everywhere, you might want to hold your breath, because now you're going to know what it actually means.
So Caitlin Clark is somebody that is obviously basketball is the preference. No matter what day of the week it is, the words from Caitlin Clark in 2016, since we're all going back to 2016 for nostalgia, reign true. Raindrop, drop top. Eyeball non-stop stop. And it does not matter.
Man, I went to the Masters, so that was pretty cool. It's on my bucket list of like sporting events that I've always wanted to go to, and I was gonna go last year, but it was just too close to turn around of camp and the draft. So that was really fun. I think the aspect of nobody having their phones, like that was really cool. Like people have to come up and be like, hey, like you have to actually have a conversation with people that you like. So that was really fun. Like you don't want your phone either. Like you're just sitting there, you're enjoying.
The photos and short clips didn't stay in the usual basketball corners of the internet. They moved fast. Fan pages, sports accounts, casual observers, people who don't normally track off-season workouts were sharing them. That alone said something. That this wasn't just excitement about her being active again. It was curiosity about what they were seeing. This time, the conversation isn't centered on effort. Of course, no one doubts that anymore. It's centered on structure, presence, and the way the session looked organized rather than improvised. Last offseason, most of what fans saw felt closed off. Empty gyms, one rebounder, controlled reps, everything clean and contained. That approach made sense at the time, especially coming off a historic college run.
Alexa, we know that the expectations for Caitlin Clark, they are constant and they are high. How does she continue to deal with that?
Well, the thing with Caitlin Clark, Malika, is that she's so self-motivated, and she even described herself to me today as self-aware, that she really knows what it will take to be able to elevate her game from all that great success she enjoyed in her rookie season to now this sophomore year. One of the things that she mentioned to me today is that right after the Fever hired new head coach Stephanie White, one of the first things that Clark did with the staff was sit down in the film room, and they really dissected her game film to be able to figure out what were the areas that she really needed to work on. And White actually told me that Clark asked for the scouting report that they used against her when White was with the Sun last year.
But this birthday workout suggested a reset, not a restart, a recalibration. The movement looked freer. The environment looked more demanding. There was an impression that adjustments had been made after last season exposed certain limits. That's why people lingered on the clips. They weren't just watching Caitlin Clark work out. They were watching signs of correction. This is how bigger stories usually begin in sports. Not with announcements or interviews, but with small visual clues that signal adaptation. Hit like if you think off-season visuals matter more than people admit.
Me, or has Caitlin Clark been doing something exciting at least every other day for the past month? For the whole month of 2026, we're only a month in, about 24 days. But still, though, it's still about a month. Caitlin Clark has been doing something to trend and make herself feel alive. And I'm here to tell you, I am for the trending, bruh. Caitlin Clark is doing us a service when she does stuff like this. Well, it looked like Caitlin Clark sat down to do another viral interview, bruh.
Not long after the birthday workout clips started circulating, another detail slipped into the conversation. It wasn't announced with a headline, but once people noticed it, they just couldn't unsee it. Caitlin Clark wasn't just back in the gym. She was there with Rob Dozier. For anyone familiar with player development at the highest levels, that name carries weight. Dozier's background runs through NBA systems, veteran professionals, and off-season programs built around longevity and durability, not just skill sharpening. This wasn't a personal trainer swap for convenience. It marked a clean break from her previous setup with Keith Porter and pointed in a different direction altogether.
Obviously, Caitlin Clark working out during at this time is impressive. And first of all, Rob Dozier that's a big hire. Like, obviously, with Keith Porter being gone, like, Rob Dozier, like, that is a big hire. That's a really big hire, considering, like, where he has been, like, what he has done. Like, he's been an NBA trainer. He's worked with a lot of
The change is very crucial as it signals a shift in philosophy. This no longer centers around staying sharp or staying busy, but building a professional-grade structure around the league's most visible player. When a franchise aligns its top asset with a trainer who operates at that level, it reflects organizational intent as much as individual choice. After last season, the injuries, the interruptions, the stretches where momentum stalled, urgency entered the picture. Not panic, urgency. The kind that pushes teams to reassess what they're doing around the margins and correct it before the same problems repeat. Comment, big move below if you believe coaching choices reveal a player's priorities.
A lot of big players. He has worked with a lot of big players, and obviously worked with the G League team for the NBA. And Rob Dozier is genuinely a good trainer. And it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of people are like talking about Caitlin Clark not really wanting to do it because she's not working out with Chris Brickley. I mean this when I say this, like, I've gone to clinics from Drew Hanlon. I've seen a lot of these workouts on an individual basis. When you're going to any of these NBA trainers on an individual basis, they all do the same thing. Like, you're looking at similar things. Maybe Drew Hanlon has people jumping and doing 360s in the air a little.
There's a common misconception about elite trainers, especially among fans watching off-season clips online. People assume the value lies in secret drills or advanced techniques nobody else knows. In reality, the surface-level work often looks familiar. Shooting reps are shooting reps. Footwork patterns don't suddenly change at the professional level. The real difference is access.
She had to play sports with boys when she first started, and you wonder why she cold like that.
Of the league, there was a few parents that were like, we can't give it to a girl, like this is a boys league. I ended up getting MVP or whatever, but that was probably some friction between the parents, not really the players. All my teammates were great and they really respected me, and honestly they gave me the ball the most, so I was fine with it.
If you were going to say something to those parents who said you didn't deserve the MVP, what would you say?
I'd invite them to a game now. They can come watch the Fever. How about that?
Now she's in the pros.
I think something I thought was normal growing up.
It was crazy about all of this is that, do y'all think those boys ever made it to the NBA?
Top-tier trainers operate in ecosystems that most players never touch. They bring in defenders who can actually disrupt timing. They build workouts around live bodies that move at game speed. They create environments where comfort disappears quickly and decision-making has to keep up. That's how men's professional players have trained for years. Summer runs aren't about perfect form in empty gyms. They're about pressure, fatigue, and reacting against other professionals who know exactly how to exploit mistakes.
So it's just exciting, but also like they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that as well.
For much of her earlier off-season work, Clark's training leaned towards control, useful but limited. What was missing wasn't effort or discipline, it was sustained exposure to real resistance. And even people like Erica Wheeler have contributed to that resilience in her.
Go to a different school, the first day of school, you don't know anybody, and you find that one person that says hi to you that become your best friend. For me, I just wanted to get ahead of it because I know this transition is tough. Just being undrafted and being a rookie, it's very unlikely that a vet, just take you in when you got the same position. And I think oftentimes people forget that I'm a great person before a basketball player. So for me as a big sister, I'm just like, I'm gonna take this first step first to just let her know, like, we here, we got you, whatever you need from me as your vet, and even you're in the same position, I got you. And she's just been doing a great job with just accepting it and receiving it from me. Because as you know, she's one of the biggest players in the world right now, and she don't act like that.
You see, that's what trainers like Dozier provide, consistent access to the level of competition that forces growth before the season ever starts. When players say development depends on who you train with, this is what they mean. If you've heard players say it's about who you train with, type access.
She's just like, help me, in any way you can. It's definitely in a sweet way. It's no ego at all. She's not selfish. You can tell she wants to be here and she wants everybody around. So it's just welcoming to me because she's a high caliber player, but her actions is not selfish at all. She wants to learn. She wants to be a family. And I'm like a big sister to her.
How were you able to do that considering put an ego aside, realize it's about the team? Did someone maybe do that to you in the past?
That's how I was raised. I don't have no hate in my heart. I want everybody around me to win. Whether you are winning or not, I still want to push you to be great. So for me, I just thought, like, if I get ahead of it, just make her comfortable right away when she get here. It's just an easy, smooth transition. And for me, I actually love it because I like being a big sister. I like helping first. I don't really like getting help, so it's refreshing for me to be able to help her and be her big sister.
One detail from the birthday workout photos stood out immediately once people slowed down and actually looked. Caitlin Clark wasn't alone on the floor. There wasn't a single rebounder drifting in and out of frame. There were bodies, multiple people moving with her, around her, occupying space. That matters more than it seems.
But more. But working out with these people, it's not necessarily about what they do in the individual sessions. It's who they can bring. The difference is who they can bring with them. So, like, especially on the men's side, it's like I knew guys who, like, Drew Hanlon would fly them over to LA in the summers, and they would play against. These were like really high level D1 guys. Played pro, never were close to the NBA because you can't really get an NBA player to commit to doing that. But they'll fly over to LA for a little bit of money, and during the summers, their job would basically be you're playing against these guys, you're guarding these guys.
You see, defenders change everything. They alter timing, they force decisions earlier than planned, they interrupt rhythm in ways cones and scripted reps never can. When someone is in your path, the window shrinks and habits show themselves fast. Compare that to what most of last year's off-season footage looked like. Clark working by herself, Clark with light resistance, Clark executing clean actions without anyone truly challenging angles or balance. It was efficient, controlled, and safe, but far removed from what she sees once games start. However, this birthday session points in a different direction. This was training built around realism, not routines. It's the type of setup where mistakes surface early and corrections have to happen on the fly. That environment forces honesty. Weak spots don't hide. Timing issues don't slide by unnoticed. Every rep carries consequence.
You're enjoying the sport. I think that sitting on the 18th green Sunday at the Masters is like one of the coolest things ever. Like, everybody's watching the leaderboard change in real time. And honestly, with how that round played out, with how Rory, had a 4-stroke lead, then Justin Rose took the lead, then it was tied. Like, getting to watch that on the leaderboard and then it comes down 18. Like, I don't know if anything will be able to top that. But I got a few more on my bucket list, so I probably say the Masters. And man, I did a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, that was cool. Okay.
For a player transitioning from college dominance to professional adaptation, this shift isn't optional. It's the next stage. College rewards control. In essence, this workout suggests Clark has fully entered that phase. Hit subscribe if you think game speed reps are actually everything. Another layer to this becomes clearer once you look at who she's training with. Caitlin Clark isn't operating around the edges anymore. She's working directly with Indiana Pacers staff and trainers. That's necessary because NBA organizations don't function as isolated roles. They operate as systems. Strength coaches, skill trainers, development staff. Everyone overlaps. People step in as defenders. They pass. They rebound. They fill gaps wherever needed to keep sessions competitive and consistent. This is how professional ecosystems work. It's less about titles and more about constant involvement. Someone who knows your body metrics one day might be guarding you the next. The information carries over. Adjustments happen quickly.
It's good enough defense that it's better than like getting a trainer, but it's not good enough defense that you're just going to swat them every single time, or like the moves aren't going to work. And that's the reason why a lot of these trainers are so successful. It's not necessarily about the drills they do, and that's what people are kind of mistaken about it. It's that who they can get them to come up against on the defensive end. It's how they're able to put them in settings to succeed, and that's the real thing.
Clark training in that environment signals a clear shift. She's no longer preparing on an island, building habits in isolation. She's inside a structure that tracks workload, movement, and recovery under one roof. That elevates accountability in a way. It sharpens consistency and reduces guesswork when it comes to managing her body across a long season. More than anything, it shows buy-in. The Fever aren't treating her as a highlight generator. They're treating her as a franchise cornerstone whose development deserves professional-level alignment across the board. Comment system. If you think infrastructure matters as much as talent,
we gotta do another video about this. We gotta do What the hell? Caitlin Clark and Paige finna play basketball next month? Well, about a month and a half in March. It says fever cover, Paige Beckers. And if they make the team, they play in 45 days. So that means it's another tryout, Caitlin Clark. See, y'all? I'm telling y'all right now, bro. This is great news. Someone commented, said, so it's okay. I was trying to figure out if who made the team would be the team to go to March or just September, as I've seen just things about September and asked about March, but no one gave me an answer.
Last season exposed a few areas that defenses learn to lean on. When Clark drove right, pressure disrupted her balance more often than expected. Finishing with her left hand rarely appeared, especially in traffic. These weren't abstract critiques. They showed up in real possessions, late clock moments, and physical matchups. The important part in all of that is context. Working on these moves alone doesn't translate cleanly once defenders enter the picture. Practicing a right-hand pull-up without contact builds muscle memory. Executing it while someone shades your hip and reaches across your body is an entirely different challenge. That gap explains why certain skills looked present in workouts yet disappeared under game conditions. The speed changes, the space collapses, confidence has to survive interference. This new training setup directly targets that problem. Live defenders force decisions at pace. They remove comfort. They demand repetition under conditions that resemble actual possessions, not ideal ones. That's how habits get rewired, not through isolated reps, but through exposure at speed, over and over, until reactions hold.
If you look, some of these high-level NBA trainers have 3-4 NBA players on the go at the same time. Like, as far as a shooting workout is concerned, whether it's Chris Brickley, Drew Hansen, Rob Dozier, or me, if it is a catch-and-shoot workout, it is irrelevant. One person acts as a rebounder, kicks to the shooter. They either shoot on the move or they shoot off the catch. Like, or sometimes you want pass from a different angle, rebounder hits passer, pass. It's the same thing from 10-year-olds to pros. There are some drills that are the same.
None of this reads as criticism, by the way. Every elite scorer goes through this stage. Defenses adjust. Weak points get tested. Development follows. The difference now is that Clark's environment appears built to confront those gaps head-on. When taken on its own, a birthday workout could pass as routine. In context, it tells a much bigger story. This level of coordination doesn't happen unless an organization understands what's at stake. The Fever know who they're building around. The league knows who drives attention. Preparation like this reflects that reality. This isn't hype. It's pressure management. It's foresight. It's treating development as something that has to keep pace with expectations. What comes next will play out on the court, but the groundwork is already visible. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and comment "ready" if you're equally curious about what the 2026 season has to offer.